Find a comfortable position. Let your body settle into its weight. Allow your breathing to become slow and unhurried. There is nowhere you need to go tonight, no distance left to cross, no path that must be finished before you rest. The day can loosen its hold now. Whatever thoughts were moving earlier can drift a little further away. For this time, nothing more is required. When you are ready, we begin. Tonight's story is called Where the Echo Settles into Stillness. You step off the narrow track and onto the open ground. Gravel that once formed the path spreads loosely beneath your boots before giving way to softer grass. The blades bend gently under each step and rise again once the pressure lifts. The basin opens quietly around you. Wide ground stretches outward beneath the sky, held within the long curve of surrounding ridges. Nothing here rises sharply. The land lifts slowly toward the slopes, forming a broad, shallow bowl. Cool air rests lightly against your face. A faint breeze moves through the grass in a slow sweep before fading again into stillness. You take a few unhurried steps forward. The surface beneath your boots shifts between patches of grass and small pale stones worn smooth by weather. Each step settles easily against the earth. A thin stream crosses the open ground ahead. From a distance, it appears almost still, a narrow line of water tracing its way across the basin floor. As you move closer, the quiet motion becomes clearer. Water slips steadily around small stones set within its shallow bed. The current never rushes. It moves with a calm rhythm that repeats again and again as it passes through the channel. You approach the bank. A flat stone near the center of the stream offers an easy crossing. Your boot presses gently onto the surface before the next step carries you to the opposite side. The sound follows briefly behind you. Then it settles again into the quiet rhythm of the basin. You continue walking across the open ground. Grass grows thicker here where the soil holds more moisture from the nearby channel. Small stones rest between the blades, their edges rounded by time. A smooth rock sits beside a gentle bend in the brook. Its surface catches the warmth of the afternoon light. A scatter of loose grit rests along one edge. You brush the grains aside with the back of your hand. Then you lower yourself onto the stone. The movement is simple and unhurried. Your shoulders ease slightly as the weight of standing settles away. Water continues its quiet passage beside you. It narrows briefly between two darker stones before widening again further along the channel. Each time it passes through that narrow gap, the sound deepens for a moment before softening again. Above the basin, the sky spreads wide and pale. A thin band of cloud drifts slowly across the upper air. Its shadow touches the slopes before dissolving again into the light. You rest your palm against the stone. Warmth lingers there where sunlight has touched it throughout the afternoon. A quiet breath leaves your lungs. Cool air brushes lightly across the back of your neck as the breeze moves through the basin once more. Then the air becomes still again. You remain seated for a moment longer. The stream continues beside you, its steady rhythm repeating as it slips over stone after stone. Then you rise again. The ground feels firm beneath your boots as you step away from the rock and return to the edge of the course. You follow the bank slowly. Grass brushes softly against your sleeve as you walk. The current bends gently across the basin floor, never moving in a straight line, but turning in long, quiet curves. A cluster of stones rests beneath the surface ahead. The trickle gathers briefly between them, creating a deeper tone before spreading again once the channel widens. You pause beside the narrow stretch. Two fingers dip briefly into the water. The surface feels cool and clear as it moves around your skin before continuing its quiet journey across the basin. You lift your hand again. A faint sound touches the air. It arrives softly from the ridge wall, almost blending with the steady movement of the stream before fading again. You listen. The sound disappears as quickly as it came. Only the quiet rhythm of the flow remains. You continue walking along the bank. The open ground stretches calmly in every direction, broken only by the winding line of the brook and the gentle rise of the surrounding slopes. Above the ridge, the sky remains wide and open. Light rests along the upper slopes while the ground below lies in softer shade. You slow your pace. Air moves quietly through the grass before settling once more into stillness. The stream curves gently toward the center of the basin. You follow its path. Each step carries you a little deeper into the wide, open space. The water continues its steady passage beside you. Grass leans slightly over the bank where the soil dips toward the channel. Then the faint echo returns again. It travels lightly across the ridge and back through the basin, softer than the sound of the quiet trickle itself. You remain still as the sound fades. The stream continues its patient movement through grass and stone. The open sky rests above the surrounding slopes, and the quiet of the basin holds everything gently in place. After a moment, you begin walking again along the waterline. Grass leans gently toward the narrow channel, where the soil dips slightly toward the call of the depths. Each step presses softly into the ground before lifting again. The brook bends ahead in a long, quiet curve, passing around the bend without disturbance, slipping steadily between small stones that rest beneath the surface. You follow the curve. The ground rises slightly beside the bank, forming a shallow shelf where the grass grows shorter. From here, the channel becomes easier to see as it crosses the basin floor. A light breeze drifts through the grass. The blades sway once in a soft ripple before settling again. You continue along the bank. Your boots move easily over patches of pale gravel scattered between the grass. The stones shift faintly underfoot before becoming still again. Widening, the sound softens into a gentle flow that barely rises above the surrounding quiet. Above the basin, the sky remains broad and open. Thin light spreads across the upper slopes while the lower ground rests in cooler shade. You slow your pace slightly. The air feels cooler here beside the bank slope where the soil holds more moisture. The stream narrows ahead between two flat stones, and as it moves through the gap, it gathers for a moment, creating a deeper tone before spreading again across the pale bed. You pause beside the narrow place. The soft murmur remains steady. A small cluster of pebbles rests along the edge of the channel. You move one of the stones gently aside with the edge of your boot. The current adjusts almost immediately, slipping through the newly opened space before continuing along its quiet path. You watch the change for a moment, then you walk on. Grass brushes lightly against the side of your sleeve as you follow the bank. The basin stretches wide around you. From this position, the ridges appear slightly closer, their long slopes curving inward to hold the open ground within their shape. The course crosses the center of the basin in slow turns. Its path is never straight. Instead, the channel bends gradually through grass and gravel as it continues its steady movement. You follow the gravel shelf for several more steps. The ground becomes smoother here, with fewer stones beneath the grass. A soft breath leaves your lungs. Cool air touches the back of your neck before drifting away again. The quiet rhythm of the brook continues beside you. Each small ripple forms briefly where the current meets a stone before smoothing again into the wider flow. You notice a flat stretch of sand beneath the filmy layer. The surface reflects a faint shimmer of light from the open sky above. You pause beside the edge of the stream. For a moment, you simply watch the movement across the sand. It moves steadily onward. A faint sound touches the air again. It arrives softly from the direction of the ridge wall, barely louder than the brook itself. You lift your head slightly. The echo lingers for only a moment before fading back into the wide quiet of the basin. You remain still. Grass stands almost motionless along the bank. You begin walking again, following the gentle passage through the channel. It bends gradually toward the center of the open ground. You follow its curve as it leads deeper into the basin. The ridges hold their long arc along the horizon. Above them, the sky stretches pale and calm. The water continues beside you with the same patient rhythm. Stone after stone rests briefly, shaping the flow before the surface smooths again. Another quiet breath leaves your lungs. The air moves softly through the grass and fades. You walk a little further along the bank. The ground remains even beneath your boots. The course continues its steady passage across the basin floor, and the faint echo, now softer than before, drifts once more across the ridge before dissolving into the quiet air. For a short while you continue without changing pace. The bank remains firm beneath your boots, the grass thinning where the soil slopes gently toward the channel. The stream keeps its steady motion, slipping quietly around the small stones that shape its course. A wider bend appears ahead. Here the current slows slightly as it spreads across a subtle stretch of gravel before gathering again further along. You follow the edge of the shallow margin. Your steps fall easily into a calm rhythm that matches the movement of the stream beside you. The basin holds a deep sense of openness. From here, the surrounding ridges appear almost evenly spaced, their long slopes rising gradually from the wide ground before meeting the sky. A breeze drifts across the grass. The movement passes in a slow sweep through the taller blades before fading once more into still air. You pause beside the wider bend. A pale stone rests partly beneath the surface where the water thins across the gravel. You lean slightly forward and watch it. It gathers briefly along the upstream edge before slipping quietly past. The sound remains soft and steady. You straighten again and continue walking. Grass brushes lightly against the fabric of your sleeve as you follow the curve of the channel. The ground grows smoother here. Small patches of sand appear between the grass where the course has shifted over time. A faint warmth lingers in the air. Afternoon light still rests across the open ground, though the slopes now hold longer bands of shadow. The slow drift continues its quiet passage beside you. Where the channel narrows slightly, the current gathers and deepens in tone before widening again. You step carefully across a small scatter of stones along the bank. Each one settles softly beneath your weight before becoming still again. The stream curves gently toward the center of the basin. You follow its direction without thinking, letting the quiet movement of water guide your path. Above the ridges, the sky remains pale and wide. A thin layer of cloud drifts slowly across the upper air, softening the brightness of the afternoon. You slow your pace slightly. The air feels cooler near the stream, where the ground holds more moisture. A flat patch of grass lies beside the bank. You rest there for a moment, standing quietly with the sound of rhythmic flow beside you. Small ripples form where the flow touches submerged stones before smoothing again across the wider stretch. A soft breath leaves your lungs. Cool air brushes lightly against your face before drifting away. The quiet rhythm of the basin continues around you. Grass stands gently along the bank. The slopes hold their calm curve across the horizon. The brook traces its winding path through the center of the open ground. You begin walking again. The bank rises slightly as the channel bends once more through the grass. The water keeps its patient rhythm beside you. A faint sound touches the air. It returns softly from the direction of the ridge wall. You pause again. The echo lingers only briefly before fading back into the open quiet. For a moment, nothing moves except the ongoing change of the waterline. Then the breeze returns, passing lightly through the grass before settling again. You continue along the bank. The stream leads gently forward, its slow turns guiding you deeper into the basin. The surrounding slopes remain calm and unchanged. Above them, the sky stretches wide and pale. The water moves steadily beside you. Stone after stone rests beneath the surface, shaping the quiet rhythm. Another breath leaves your lungs. Your shoulders ease slightly as you walk. The course bends ahead once more, tracing another slow curve through grass and gravel. You follow it without hurry. The faint echo does not return this time. Only the soft, lulling sound continues across the wide, open ground, and the quiet of the basin remains steady around you. A slightly firmer stretch of ground rises beside the channel. Grass grows shorter here, pressed close to the soil where the bank lifts a little. From this small change in height, the narrow course of the stream becomes easier to follow as it winds through the basin. A few slow steps carry you onto the higher patch. The surface feels smooth beneath your boots, with only the occasional stone resting between the grass. Water slips steadily around the bends, shaping small ripples where it meets the stones beneath the surface before smoothing again along the wider stretches. Across the open ground, the surrounding slopes hold their gentle curve. None of them rise sharply. Each hillside lifts gradually from the basin floor before meeting the pale sky above. A light breeze crosses the grass. The movement travels through the blades in a soft ripple before fading once more into still air. For a moment, your pace slows. From this position, the shimmering path becomes clearer. The narrow flow traces a patient line through the basin, turning gradually through patches of grass and gravel before bending again further ahead. The familiar sounds remain steady. Where the channel narrows, the current gathers briefly between stones before widening again across the pebbled floor. Cool air rests lightly against your face. Another quiet breath leaves your lungs as the breeze slips past. A few more steps follow the edge of the basin floor. The ground slopes gently downward again toward the channel, where the grass grows thicker beside the moisture of the bank. Small pale stones appear beneath the blades. Their smooth surfaces catch faint light before disappearing again beneath the grass. The stream bends through another slow curve. From here, the hypnotic movement seems almost effortless, guided by the shape of the basin floor rather than by any sudden change in direction. The sky above remains broad and pale. A thin band of cloud drifts quietly across the upper air, softening the brightness of the afternoon. Stillness settles across the open ground. Only the steady sound continues comforting beside you. The basin holds its wide calm around the gentleness of the brook. A few unhurried steps bring you slightly further along the bank. The ground rises once more into a small natural shelf of grass. From there, the course can be seen turning slowly through the center of the basin before continuing toward the far slopes. For a moment, you simply stand and watch. Water moves patiently across gravel and sand beneath the surface. A faint sound touches the air. It travels lightly from the ridge wall and across the basin, arriving softer than the steady movement of the stream itself. Listening reveals how quickly the sound fades. Within a moment, it dissolves again into the wide quiet of the open ground. Grass stands gently around your boots. The air remains calm. After a short pause, your steps resume along the bank. The channel curves ahead once more, guiding the quiet movement deeper into the basin. Above the slopes, the sky remains wide and pale. The basin rests in the same calm balance of grass, stone, water, and open air. And the soft rhythm continues beside you as the walk carries gently onward. A short distance ahead, the bank lifts once more into a gentle rise. Grass grows a little thinner there, the soil pressed firm by time and weather. From that small height, more of the basin floor becomes visible beyond the bend. Several unhurried steps bring you onto the rise. The ground settles solidly beneath your boots, offering a clear view across the open space. Below, the narrow channel winds across the basin in a series of patient turns. Water follows the natural shape of the land, gliding around stones, and loose patches of gravel before bending again toward the far slopes. Never rushing, its steady rhythm remains the quiet center of the basin. A breeze moves softly through the grass. The blades shift once in a wide, slow ripple before returning to stillness. From this higher ground, the stream's path becomes easier to understand. The channel enters the basin near one ridge, crosses the wide floor in long curves, then slips away again toward the opposite slope. The surrounding hills hold their calm arc around the open ground. Each ridge rises gradually, enclosing the basin without sharp edges or steep walls. Above them, the sky stretches pale and open. Thin light spreads evenly across the upper slopes, while cooler shade rests along the lower ground. For a moment, you remain still. The wide basin feels settled and complete in its quiet shape. The flowing ribbon continues its movement below, flowing naturally across the stone bed with a low and steady sound, barely rising above the soft whisper of air moving through the grass. Cool air touches the back of your neck. A slow breath leaves your lungs. The calm rhythm of the place continues around you. A small patch of gravel rests near the edge of the rise. Several pale stones lie scattered there where the soil thins. One step shifts slightly across the surface before settling again. The brook curves quietly through the center of the basin. From here, the entire sweep of the channel can be followed with ease. Each bend leads naturally into the next, creating a gentle path through grass and gravel. The air remains calm. Only the sound continues its steady pattern. Another faint sound touches the basin. It arrives softly from the ridge wall, carried lightly across the open ground. The echo lingers only for a moment, then it fades again into the quiet air. Listening reveals how quickly the basin returns to stillness. Grass stands quietly along the slopes. The wide sky remains calm above the ridges. For a few moments longer, you remain on the rise. Shapes of the basin feel familiar. The winding path is clear. Surrounding slopes hold their gentle arc across the horizon. Slow steps begin again along the edge of the rise. The ground slopes gradually downward toward the channel where the grass grows thicker. The current continues its steady movement. Small ripples form briefly where the flow meets submerged stones before smoothing again across the wider stretches. A light breeze passes once more across the basin. The movement travels through the grass and fades again. Your steps follow the bank as it leads gently forward. The stream continues beside you, tracing its quiet course through the center of the basin. Above the slopes, the sky remains wide and pale. The ridges hold their calm curve along the horizon, and the basin, now fully known in its quiet shape, settles gently around the steady rhythm of the water. The rise behind you settles gradually back into the wider ground. Grass thickens again along the slope where the soil dips toward the stream. The narrow channel continues its patient movement through the basin, turning quietly through patches of gravel and sand. Several slow steps carry you down from the higher ground. The surface beneath your boots softens slightly where the grass grows deeper. The course remains close, gliding across the pale gravel, slipping around scattered stones before smoothing again along the wider stretches. Sunlight touches the surface in brief flashes. Where the water thins across pale gravel, the light breaks into small shifting reflections that move with the current. A faint breeze crosses the basin. The grass responds with a soft movement that travels through the blades before fading again. Walking continues at an easy pace beside the channel. The ground here feels even, shaped gently by the slow passage of water over many seasons. A small bend appears ahead. It curves through a faint pocket of sand where it spreads slightly wider before gathering again beyond the bend. The sound changes almost imperceptibly. Across the wider stretch moves with a softer tone, more like a quiet glide than a ripple. Cool air settles briefly against your face. Breathing remains slow and unhurried. Slopes rise gradually in the distance, their grassy surfaces touched by the pale afternoon light. The bank narrows slightly beside the bend. Grass leans toward where the soil dips along the channel's edge. A moment of stillness settles there. Beyond the bend, the channel straightens briefly before turning again across the basin floor. Walking resumes along the bank. The current remains just beside your path, its quiet rhythm repeating in a pattern that feels almost familiar now. A few pale stones rest beneath the surface, which grows slightly deeper. Above the ridges, the sky remains wide and calm. Thin cloud drifts slowly across the open air, softening the brightness of the afternoon. The breeze returns for a moment. Grass shifts in a slow wave before settling once more. The stream continues its quiet passage through the basin. Each bend reveals another thin stretch of gravel, another smooth patch of sand beneath the moving water. A short pause follows beside the bank. The sound remains steady and low, gliding across the shallow, shaping small ripples that disappear again as the channel widens. A faint sound touches the air once more. The echo returns briefly from the ridge wall before dissolving again into the wide quiet. Listening reveals how easily the basin absorbs the sound. Within moments, the steady rhythm of the familiar trickle becomes the only sound again. Walking continues along the narrow bank. The channel bends gently ahead, guiding the path deeper through the basin. Grass grows slightly taller here, where the ground holds more moisture from the run. Light reflections drift across the surface as the stream follows another quiet turn through the open ground. The slopes remain calm beneath the pale sky, and the steady passage continues beside you as the basin slowly opens further ahead. The bend ahead gradually widens as the glassy liquid moves across a shoal shelf of gravel. Water glides more slowly here, spreading into a thin, clear layer before gathering again further along the channel. Beneath the surface, pale stones form scattered patterns that shift slightly as the current passes over them. The ground feels smooth beneath your boots where the gravel has settled firmly into the soil. Grass grows thinner along this stretch, leaving small patches of open earth between the stones. Light reflects softly from the surface. Tiny flickers move across the glassy layer where sunlight touches the gravel below. The basin remains open and calm. Beyond the brook, the grassy slopes rise gradually toward the ridges that hold the wide ground within their quiet curve. A breeze moves lightly across the basin. The grass answers with a slow rustle before settling again into stillness. A few steps carry you along the edge of the gravel shelf. The stream narrows slightly where the channel leaves the low stretch and gathers into a more defined flow, slipping quietly between two larger stones. Cool air rests briefly against your face. Breathing remains slow and steady as the quiet rhythm of the basin continues. A short pause beside the curve of the channel allows the movement to become clearer. Small ripples appear where the flow touches the edges of submerged stones. Each ripple travels only a short distance before smoothing again into the wider surface. The ground rises gently along the bank. Grass returns in thicker patches where the soil holds more moisture. Walking resumes along the narrow edge of the channel. The current remains steady beside you, guiding the eye along its slow, winding path. Above the ridges, the sky stretches pale and even. Thin cloud drifts slowly through the upper air, softening the light across the slopes. Another bend appears ahead. The stream turns quietly through a cluster of grass that leans toward the water along the bank. Movement slows slightly as the curve of the channel becomes more pronounced. It gathers briefly at the outer edge of the bend before slipping onward. The sound remains calm and even, A moment of stillness settles across the basin. Grass stands quietly along the bank. A faint sound touches the air again. The echo arrives softly from the ridge wall, carried across the basin, before fading quickly into the open quiet. Listening reveals how gently the sound disappears. Within a moment, only the steady movement remains. Walking begins again along the edge of the channel. The gravel shelf gives way gradually to softer ground where grass grows thicker beside the brook. Light glides across the surface as the water turns slowly through another shallow bend. The surrounding slopes remain calm beneath the wide sky, and the basin holds its quiet balance of grass, stone, and movement as the walk continues. A quieter stretch of ground appears ahead where the course widens slightly before narrowing again further along. It spreads thinly across a bed of pale gravel. The movement slows there, forming a smooth surface that reflects a faint shimmer of light from the sky above. Several steady steps carry you along the edge of the wider section. The ground feels firm where the gravel has settled beneath the grass. Where the channel grows thin, the sound softens into a low glide across the stones before deepening again, gathering toward the next bend. A light breeze moves across the basin. Grass leans gently in one direction before rising again when the air becomes still. The stream narrows gradually beyond the gravel shelf and slips between two darker stones that rest partly beneath the surface. Cool air touches the side of your face. Breathing remains slow and unhurried. The basin holds its wide calm around the steady movement. Slopes rise gradually beyond the open ground, their grassy surfaces softened by the pale afternoon light. Walking continues along the bank. The ground dips slightly toward the water where thicker grass grows beside the moisture of the channel. A few pale stones rest along the edge of the stream, which glides around them with almost no disturbance. A moment of stillness follows. The sound of the brook remains steady and low. Tiny ripples form briefly where the current passes over uneven gravel before smoothing again into the wider flow. Above the ridges, the sky remains pale and open. Thin cloud drifts slowly across the upper air, softening the brightness of the afternoon. A few steps carry you further along the narrow bank. The course bends gently again through the basin floor, guiding the quiet movement of water through grass and gravel. The sound remains constant. Each bend of the channel creates a subtle change in tone as it gathers and spreads along the pebbled floor. The air grows slightly cooler beside the stream. A slow breath leaves your lungs. Grass stands softly along the edge of the bank. The basin remains calm and open around the steady movement of the water. A faint sound touches the air once more. The echo returns lightly from the ridge wall before dissolving again into the wide quiet of the basin. Listening reveals how briefly the sound lingers. Within moments, only the soft glide remains. The bank rises slightly where the ground becomes firmer beneath the grass. The channel turns again across the basin floor, tracing another quiet curve through the open ground. Above the slopes, the sky remains broad and pale. Light rests gently across the ridges, while cooler shade settles along the basin floor. Stone after stone rests beneath the surface, shaping the quiet rhythm of the run. And the basin holds its steady calm as the walk carries slowly onward. Near the next bend, the ground changes underfoot. Grass thins away into a shallow patch of pale gravel where the soil dips toward the water. The surface feels firmer here, each stone settling quietly beneath your step. A narrow run crosses the gravel shelf. Instead of turning along the bank, the channel spreads briefly across the open patch before gathering again a few paces further on. Clear current moves gently over the stones. Light breaks across the shimmering surface, forming small shifting patterns that drift slowly with the flow. A A few steps bring you closer to the crossing. The gravel lies smooth, worn down by seasons of quiet movement. Cool air settles beside the channel. Breathing remains slow and steady as the basin holds its calm around the quiet passage. The delicate crossing extends only a short distance. Water slides softly across the gravel, barely deep enough to cover the smallest stones. One careful step moves through the edge. It feels cool around the sole of your boot before the next step returns you to the firm ground of the opposite bank. Behind you, the crossing continues its steady movement. The thin layer glides across the stones and gathers again into the narrow channel beyond. Walking resumes along the edge of the bend. Grass returns along the bank where the soil holds more moisture from the nearby flow. It travels quietly beside you once more. Where the channel deepens slightly, the sound becomes a little fuller before softening again along the wider sections. Above the slopes, the sky remains pale and open. Thin cloud drifts slowly through the upper air, softening the light across the basin. A light breeze passes across the ground. Grass shifts gently along the bank before settling again. The channel curves gradually away from the gravel shelf and steadily through where several darker stones rest beneath the surface. Tiny ripples form around their edges before smoothing again into the wider flow. A brief pause allows the quiet movement to become clearer. The comforting sound remains low and even. Beneath the surface, small pebbles lie scattered across the bed of the channel. The current slips easily between them. Walking continues along the bank. The ground rises slightly where the basin floor begins to lift toward the distant slopes. From this position, the narrow channel can be seen turning once more through the grass ahead. Light reflections drift across the surface. Each flicker moves slowly before disappearing beneath the next ripple. The basin remains calm and open. Grass stretches across the wide ground while the ridges hold their quiet curve around the horizon. A slow breath leaves your lungs. Cool air brushes gently across your face before fading again. Stone, gravel, and sand guide the movement of water through the basin floor. A few more steady steps follow the curve of the bank. The narrow run bends once again ahead, tracing another quiet line through the grass. The slopes remain calm beneath the pale sky, and the soft rhythm continues beside you as the walk carries deeper through the open basin. Beyond the gravel, crossing the channel narrows again. It gathers into a clearer line as it leaves the shoal behind. A few unhurried steps carry you along the bank. Grass grows thicker here where the soil holds more moisture beside the moving current. The ground feels soft but steady beneath your boots. The narrow flow continues beside you. Where the channel bends, the surface tilts slightly as the flow leans against the outer edge before smoothing again along the inside of the curve. Light moves gently across the water. Small reflections drift along the surface. A breeze passes lightly through the basin. The grass responds with a quiet ripple that travels outward before fading again into stillness. Walking continues at an easy pace beside the channel. The ground begins to slope upward very gradually toward the surrounding hills, though the rise is so gentle it is felt more than seen. The current keeps its steady rhythm gliding across gravel and sand beneath the surface, shaping faint ripples that dissolve again along the wider stretches. Cool air settles briefly against your face. Breathing remains slow and even. The basin holds its quiet balance around the steady movement. A small stretch of darker soil appears beside the bank. Moisture from the nearby channel has deepened the color of the earth where grass grows thickest along the edge. The narrow flow bends again through the basin. From here, the flow appears almost effortless, guided only by the gentle shape of the ground. Several pale stones rest beneath the surface ahead. A moment of stillness settles across the open ground. The breeze softens. Only the low sound of water continues beside the bank. Above the slopes, the sky remains broad and pale. Thin cloud drifts slowly across the upper air, softening the brightness of the afternoon light. Walking resumes along the edge of the channel. The ground lifts slightly beneath your boots, where the basin floor begins its gradual rise toward the distant ridges. Grass moves softly around the bank. Light reflections travel slowly across the surface before dissolving into the wider flow. A slow breath leaves your lungs. Cool air brushes gently across the back of your neck. The basin remains calm and open. The narrow channel traces another quiet turn across the wide ground before slipping toward the base of the slopes. From here, the movement of the water feels familiar. Each bend leads naturally into the next. Stone, sand, and gravel guide steady through the basin floor. A few final steps follow the edge of the bank. The quiet rhythm remains beside you. Grass stretches across the open ground while the surrounding hills hold their gentle curve along the horizon. The sky remains wide above the slopes, and the calm movement continues through the basin as the walk slowly carries onward into the quiet afternoon. A quieter stretch of ground appears where the channel bends gently toward a reedy bank of grass and stone. The narrow flow continues its steady passage through the basin, turning softly around the curve before gliding across a smooth patch of gravel. Several slow steps bring you closer to the bend. The ground settles firmly beneath your boots, where the grass grows shorter along the edge of the bank. Near the waterline, a broad stone rests partly within the grass. Its surface lies flat and warm beneath the pale afternoon light. Clear water slips across the stony bed, shaping small ripples where the flow meets the scattered pebbles beneath the surface. For a moment, your pace slows. The gentle movement of the current becomes easier to notice here beside the bend. Small arcs form where the stream curves around the gravel before smoothing again along the straight stretch beyond. The basin remains calm around the steady motion. Slopes rise gradually in the distance, their grassy surfaces touched by the soft light of the afternoon. A light breeze moves across the open ground. Grass responds with a quiet ripple that passes through the blades before fading into stillness again. Your steps ease to a stop beside the stone. The surface beneath your hand feels warm where the sunlight has rested throughout the day. Tiny ripples travel across the glassy surface as the current moves between scattered pebbles. A moment of stillness settles beside the bend. The breeze softens. Above the ridges, the sky stretches wide and pale. Thin cloud drifts slowly through the upper air, softening the brightness of the afternoon light. The quiet rhythm of the basin continues. Grass leans gently along the bank while the narrow run glides across the gravel bed. A slow breath leaves your lungs. Cool air brushes softly across your face before drifting away again. The stone beside the bank offers a comfortable place to remain for a while. From here, the curve can be followed easily as it passes through the grass before bending again further along the basin floor. Water moves steadily through the curve. Small reflections drift across the surface where the light touches its glassy layer. The surrounding slopes remain calm beneath the pale sky. No movement appears there beyond the quiet drift of cloud above. Another quiet moment passes. The steady flow continues beside the stone. Tiny ripples form and fade as the current moves around the pebbles beneath the surface. The basin holds its wide stillness. Grass stands gently along the bank. The breeze remains soft and occasional. Your shoulders ease slightly. The calm rhythm of the stream continues through the bend. Light reflections move slowly across the shallow surface before dissolving again into the steady flow. The quiet place beside the stone feels settled now. Water glides past without interruption. Above the ridges, the sky remains broad and pale, and the basin rests around the gentle movement of the brook as the quiet afternoon continues. Near the bend, the translucent layer reveals small details that were easy to miss while walking. Clear current moves steadily across the gravel bed, slipping between scattered pebbles before gathering again along the curve of the channel. From this quieter position beside the stone, the movement becomes easier to follow. Tiny ripples form where the flow touches the uneven edges of the gravel. Each ripple travels only a short distance before smoothing again across the wider surface. The course remains calm. Beneath the waterline, pale stones rest in loose clusters, their rounded edges softened by years of slow movement across the basin floor. A faint breeze crosses the bank. Grass leans gently toward the channel before lifting again as the air settles. From where you remain, the bend opens clearly in view. The narrow run of water curves through the basin before disappearing briefly behind a shallow rise further along the bank. Sunlight glides softly across the surface. Small reflections drift with the subtle surge, sliding across before dissolving into the wider flow. Near the edge of the channel, a tiny insect touches the surface. Its movement creates a faint circle that spreads outward before fading into steady motion. Another small ripple appears nearby. This one forms where the volume meets a slightly raised pebble beneath the surface. The ripple widens briefly, then disappears as the flow continues along its quiet path. The basin remains calm around the steady movement. Grass rests softly along the bank while the distant slopes hold their gentle rise beneath the pale sky. A slow breath leaves your lungs. Cool air brushes lightly across your face. Occasionally, a small bubble rises from between the pebbles beneath the gravel bed. It reaches the surface and breaks without sound before being carried onward. The quiet observation becomes almost effortless. Tiny movements appear and disappear across the glistening surface. Reflections shift slowly. Ripples form and smooth again. The coolness moves patiently through the bend. Above the ridges, the sky remains wide and pale. Thin cloud drifts slowly across the upper air, softening the light that rests across the basin. Another faint breeze passes across the grass. The movement travels briefly through the blades before stillness returns. Beside the stone, the narrow channel continues its steady passage. Pebbles beneath the surface guide the movement of the water, shaping small arcs in the flow before the surface becomes smooth again. Your shoulders remain relaxed. Breathing stays slow and even. The basin holds its quiet balance of grass, stone, sky, and flow. A few more moments pass in this calm place beside the bend. Small ripples drift across the glistening surface. Light travels across the clear layer above the gravel. The course continues its quiet movement through the basin floor, and the gentle rhythm of the stream remains steady beside the stone as the quiet afternoon deepens around you. Beside the bend, the pale liquid continues its quiet movement across the gravel bed. From the stone where you remain, the surface lies close enough to watch without effort. It slips steadily between small pebbles before smoothing again along the gentle curve of the channel. A faint shimmer travels across the surface. Sunlight moves with the flow, drifting slowly as it glides past the bend. Near the bank, several small pebbles sit partly exposed above the gravel. Water gathers briefly around their edges before slipping quietly beyond them. The movement remains calm and even. Across the basin, the grassy slopes rise in their familiar arc beneath the pale sky. The place feels settled now, its shape easy to understand without needing to look far. A small insect touches the surface again. For a moment, its light contact forms a circle that spreads outward across the water before disappearing into the deeps. The ripple fades quickly. Only the quiet passage of the flow remains. Cool air rests softly against your face. Another slow breath leaves your lungs as the breeze moves gently through the grass. The narrow run continues its patient course. Pebbles beneath the surface guide the current into small turns that smooth again along the wider stretches of the channel. From this still position, the smallest movements become easier to notice. A tiny bubble rises from between two stones beneath the gravel. It reaches the surface and disappears without sound. Light reflections drift slowly across the sparkling layer. Each one travels a short distance before dissolving into the wider flow. Grass remains quiet along the bank. The breeze softens again until the air becomes almost completely still. Above the distant ridges, the sky stretches wide and pale. Thin cloud continues its slow passage across the upper air. The drift glides steadily past the stone. Small ripples appear where the water touches uneven gravel before smoothing again along the bend. Another quiet moment passes. The basin remains calm around the steady rhythm. A few insects drift through the warm air above the bank. Their movement remains slow and unhurried. Below them, the narrow channel continues its gentle passage through the basin floor. It remains clear and steady. Pebbles beneath the surface form quiet patterns across the bed of the brook. Occasionally, a small ripple travels outward before fading into the wider flow. Your shoulders remain relaxed. Breathing stays slow and even. The stone beside the bank holds its quiet warmth beneath your hand. Nearby, the water continues its steady movement across gravel and sand. Above the slopes, the pale sky remains open and calm. The basin rests within its wide curve of grass and distant ridges. The bend remains in view from where you sit. Ripples form and fade along the surface, and the quiet rhythm of the current continues beside the stone as the afternoon settles deeper into stillness. Beside the stone, it continues its quiet passage through the basin. From this settled place near the bank, the clarity remains close enough to observe without effort. Pebbles scattered along the bed guide the movement of the flow as it curves gently past the bend. A faint shimmer travels across the gravel below the surface. Light drifts slowly through the moving water, sliding across the pale stones before dissolving again along the wider stretch of the channel. Near the bank, the gravel slopes softly. The edge of the flow remains clear and shallow where it first meets the stones along the bend. For a moment, you lean slightly closer, fingers lower toward the waterline. The surface parts quietly around them. Coolness spreads gently across your skin where the current passes over your hand. The temperature feels noticeably lower than the warm air resting across the basin. The flow continues without interruption. Pebbles beneath the surface guide the volume around your fingers before it slips onward along the bend. After a few moments, your hand lifts again from the stream. Small droplets fall back into the channel, forming faint circles that widen across the surface before fading into the steady movement of the course. The narrow run of water resumes its familiar rhythm. Ripples glide softly across the gravel bed where the flow meets the uneven stones. A breeze passes lightly through the grass. The blades shift momentarily before rising again as the air settles. The basin remains calm around the gentle movement. Grass stretches quietly across the open ground while the distant ridges hold their wide arc beneath the pale sky. Cool air lingers near the bank. Breathing remains slow and unhurried. The steady passage of the brook continues beside the stone. Tiny patterns of light drift across the surface as the translucent run moves along the bend. Beneath the surface, pale pebbles remain scattered across the gravel bed. Occasionally, the flow gathers around one of the stones before smoothing again into the wider channel. The quiet place beside the bend feels settled now. The water line lies only a short distance away. Grass stands softly along the bank. Above the basin, thin cloud continues its slow movement through the open sky. Another gentle breath leaves your lungs. Cool air brushes softly across your face before drifting away again. The delicate brook continues its steady course through gravel and stone. Small ripples appear and disappear along the bend. Light reflections slide slowly before dissolving into the wider flow. The surrounding slopes remain calm beneath the pale sky. The basin holds its wide stillness around the quiet movement of the stream, and the gentle rhythm continues beside the stone as the quiet afternoon settles further into calm. From the stone where you remain, the narrow run passes quietly through the faint curve before slipping onward across the basin floor. The motion feels familiar now, its calm rhythm repeating without effort. Across the gravel beneath the surface, small pebbles lie scattered in loose patterns. The flow moves easily between them, gathering briefly along the edges before smoothing again into the wider channel. Above the basin, the sky remains pale and open. Thin cloud drifts slowly across the upper air, softening the afternoon light that rests along the distant slopes. A quiet breeze moves through the grass. The blades lean gently toward the pale gravel before rising again as the air settles. Beside the stone, the slowly rippling current continues its patient course. Light glides across the surface in soft reflections that drift with the movement of the brook. Beneath the surface, the gravel bed remains clearly visible. Pale stones rest quietly along the channel floor, while the flow moves around them in slow, steady patterns. A moment of stillness passes. The air becomes calm again. A hush remains beside the bank. Cool air lingers. Another slow breath leaves your lungs as the calm rhythm of the basin continues around you. The elevated bend of the course remains in view. The channel curves gently across the open ground before disappearing briefly behind a low rise further along the basin. Light reflections travel across the moving layer. Each faint shimmer moves slowly along the surface before fading again into the wider flow. Grass stands quietly along the bank. The surrounding slopes hold their calm arc beneath the open sky. A few small insects drift through the warm air above the stream. Their movement remains slow and unhurried. Tiny ripples appear where the flow meets the uneven edges of submerged stones. Each ripple spreads outward for a short distance before smoothing again into the steady run of water. The basin remains calm and open. Grass covers the wide ground while the distant ridges rise gently along the horizon. The sky above holds its pale light. Cloud continues its slow drift across the upper air. Beside the stone, the narrow run keeps its steady rhythm. Pebbles beneath the surface guide the movement of the current through the bend. Your shoulders remain relaxed. Breathing stays slow and even. The quiet place now feels fully settled. Nothing needs to change. The gentle motion continues through the basin floor. Light reflections drift slowly across the surface. The surrounding slopes remain calm beneath the wide sky, and the basin holds its quiet balance of grass, stone, air, and flowing water as the afternoon rests softly around you. Gravel lies scattered across the basin floor beside the stone where you now rest. Small rounded pebbles press gently into the earth along the bank. Their pale surfaces hold traces of warmth gathered through the long afternoon. When you shift slightly against the stone, the ground beneath your feet settles into a more comfortable position. The stone at your back still carries a faint heat from the sun. Your shoulders lean against its rough surface, while the grass beside the bank brushes softly against your sleeve. The gentle contact feels steady and familiar now, as though this quiet corner of the basin has gradually accepted your presence. Cool air drifts slowly across the open ground. It carries the faint scent of damp gravel and crushed grass where the bank curves beside the bend. The breeze passes only briefly before easing again into stillness. From somewhere along the bank, a quiet rustle passes through the grass. The sound travels only a short distance before fading into the wider hush of the basin. Nothing else disturbs the calm around the stone. Above the slopes, pale cloud crosses the open sky. The ridges surrounding the basin hold their soft arc along the horizon, their shapes becoming gentler as the afternoon continues to soften. You shift your legs slightly in the grass. The ground beneath you feels firm but comfortable now. Pebbles settle quietly beneath your heel where the bank slopes toward the bend. A slow breath leaves your chest. Cool air touches your face before drifting away again. The basin feels wide and settled from this quiet place beside the stone. Grass stretches across the open ground while the distant ridges rest beneath the pale sky. A faint shimmer travels across the bend below the bank. Tiny reflections drift slowly across the clear surface before dissolving again among the pale stones beneath. The breeze returns briefly. Grass leans toward the bank before lifting again when the air grows calm. Your shoulders ease further against the stone. From this comfortable position, the quiet routine of resting beside the bank begins to feel natural, as though the basin itself invites you to remain here a while longer. Across the open ground, the ridges continue their long curve beneath the drifting cloud. Nothing needs to change. The quiet corner beside the stone holds its calm balance of grass, gravel, air, and distant sky as the afternoon settles into a deeper stillness. Grass spreads softly across the basin floor around the stone where you sit. From this quiet place beside the bank, the ground feels firm and steady beneath you. Pebbles scattered through the grass press lightly against the earth, their rounded shapes warming slowly as the afternoon continues. A gentle adjustment settles your back more comfortably against the stone. The rough surface supports your shoulders while the grass beside you bends softly beneath your hand. Cool air moves quietly across the basin. It carries the faint scent of damp soil and crushed stems where the ground curves beside the bend. The breeze arrives lightly and fades again without disturbing the calm. Across the basin floor, the ground stretches open and wide. The surrounding slopes rise gradually toward the ridges that hold the horizon. Their shapes soften as the afternoon slowly drifts toward evening. A faint shimmer travels across the bend below the bank. The surface reflects pale sky above the basin floor, and small patterns appear briefly before dissolving again among the scattered stones. Near your feet, the grass stirs. The sound is barely more than a whisper as the breeze brushes past the blades. You stretch your legs slightly across the grass. The earth beneath your heels feels cool compared with the warmth still held in the stone behind your shoulders. Above the basin, thin clouds drift across the open sky. Their pale shapes move slowly enough that their motion is almost impossible to notice unless you watch carefully. A quiet breath settles through your chest. The cool air touches your face before easing away again. The basin remains calm around this small resting place. Grass stretches across the ground while the ridges continue their wide arc along the horizon. Another faint rustle moves through the grass beside the bank. The sound fades quickly, leaving only the quiet atmosphere that surrounds the stone. From here, the basin feels larger than it first appeared. The open ground extends gradually toward the distant slopes, while the sky above holds its pale, unbroken space. Your shoulders remain relaxed against the stone. The grass beside your sleeve bends softly where it touches the fabric. Above the ridges, cloud continues its slow passage through the sky. Their shapes thin slightly as the afternoon softens toward evening. Nothing in the basin asks for attention. The ground rests quietly beneath the grass. air drifts gently across the open space, and the calm place beside the stone continues to feel settled and steady as the quiet afternoon gradually deepens. Above the basin, the open sky begins to soften toward evening. Thin cloud drifts slowly across the upper air, its pale edges spreading gently along the wide arc above the surrounding ridges. From the stone where you sit, the quiet sky feels broad and unhurried. A cooler breath of air passes across the ground. It carries a faint freshness that replaces the lingering warmth of the afternoon. The grass beside the bank stirs slightly before settling again. Your shoulders rest comfortably against the stone. The warmth stored in its surface now feels gentler than before, easing slowly as the air cools around the basin. High above the slopes, cloud continues its gradual passage. Their pale shapes drift across the sky, so slowly that the change becomes noticeable only after several quiet moments of watching. Across the distant ridges, the color of the hillside begins to soften. The slopes appear calmer now, their outlines blending more smoothly into the surrounding sky. A quiet breath moves through your chest. Cool air touches your face before easing away again. The basin feels wider as the evening atmosphere settles across the open ground. Grass stretches calmly toward the distant slopes while the ridges hold their steady curve along the horizon. A faint rustle travels briefly through the grass near the bank. The sound fades quickly, leaving the basin resting again in its calm hush. Above the horizon, the drifting cloud thins slightly. Pale sky shows through the softer shapes as they spread across the upper air. Your legs remain comfortably extended across the grass. The ground beneath your heels holds a gentle coolness that contrasts with the last traces of warmth in the stone behind your back. Another slow breath leaves your lungs. The coolness in the air feels steady now, settling quietly across the basin. Across the distant slopes, the evening tone continues to deepen. The ridges still hold their wide arc around the basin floor, while the sky above remains pale and open. Nothing in the basin asks for attention. The sky drifts quietly above the slopes. Grass rests softly beside the stone, and the calm evening atmosphere continues to settle across the wide basin as you remain comfortably at rest. A quiet rustle passes through the grass beside the stone. The sound arrives gently, carried by a brief breath of evening air that moves across the basin floor. It travels only a short distance before fading into the wider hush surrounding the slopes. Cool air settles across your face. The temperature now feels slightly fresher than it did earlier in the afternoon, bringing a calm clarity to the open ground around you. Your shoulders stay comfortably supported by the stone. The warmth held in its surface has softened, blending easily with the cooler evening atmosphere spreading through the basin. Across the basin floor, the grass lies mostly still. Only an occasional whisper stirs through the blades when a light breeze touches the ground. Beyond the open ground, the ridges hold their broad curve along the horizon. Their outlines appear gentler now beneath the pale evening sky, blending quietly with the air above the slopes. A faint murmur rises somewhere along the bank. It lasts only a moment before dissolving into the calm surrounding the stone. Silence settles again across the basin. Nothing continues the sound. The quiet space holds steady. You notice the slow rhythm of your breathing. Each inhale brings cool evening air into your lungs before easing away again without effort. Above the distant ridges, thin cloud drifts across the sky. The shapes change, so gradually that the shift becomes noticeable only after several quiet moments of watching. Near the stone, grass brushes softly against the ground. The sound barely disturbs the surrounding stillness. The basin feels calm and spacious. Open ground stretches toward the slopes while the horizon holds its wide, steady arc. Another quiet breath leaves your chest. Your body rests easily against the stone while the calm evening air surrounds the basin. The ridges continue their patient presence along the horizon. Their shapes hold the basin gently within the surrounding slopes. Once more, the grass stirs beside the bank. Then the sound fades again into the evening hush. Nothing in the basin asks for attention. Cool air drifts quietly through the open ground, and the gentle sounds of evening settle softly across the basin while you continue resting comfortably beside the stone. Your back rests easily against the stone. The surface supports your shoulders without effort, holding a faint warmth that blends gently with the cooler air spreading through the basin. From this quiet place beside the bank, the body feels settled and steady. A slow breath enters your lungs. Cool evening air moves softly across your face before easing away again. Grass spreads quietly across the basin floor. The ground stretches outward toward the distant slopes, where the ridges continue their wide arc along the horizon. Above those ridges, pale cloud drifts across the open sky. Their shapes shift so gradually that the change becomes noticeable only after several calm moments of watching. Your legs rest comfortably in the grass. The earth beneath your heels feels firm and cool, providing a steady support that invites the body to relax further. Another quiet breath leaves your chest. The rhythm of breathing becomes slow and even. Somewhere along the bank, a faint rustle appears. The sound passes briefly through the grass before fading again into the surrounding hush. The basin remains calm. Open ground lies still beneath the sky, while the distant slopes hold their quiet outline along the horizon. Cool air settles across the basin floor. It carries the soft scent of damp soil and evening grass. Your shoulders ease more deeply against the stone. The body no longer needs to shift or adjust. Everything feels comfortably settled. Across the slopes, the sky continues to soften toward evening. Cloud drifts slowly across the upper air while the basin rests quietly below. A calm breath enters and leaves your chest. The rhythm feels steady and natural. The surrounding ground holds its quiet balance of grass, earth, air, and distant sky. Nothing asks for attention. Nothing needs to change. The stone supports your back. The grass rests softly beneath your legs. Cool evening air surrounds the basin, and the quiet place beside the stone holds its gentle stillness as the evening continues to deepen. Your body rests quietly against the stone. The support behind your shoulders feels steady and familiar now, as though the stone has been there all evening waiting for you to lean back and settle. A calm breath enters your lungs. Cool evening air fills your chest before easing out again without effort. Your breathing slows naturally. Each inhale feels gentle and unhurried, followed by a soft release that allows your shoulders to relax even further. The grass beneath your legs feels soft and steady. The ground supports your weight easily, holding you in a comfortable resting place beside the stone. Cool air drifts across the basin. It carries the faint scent of earth and evening grass. Above the distant slopes, the sky remains pale and open. Thin cloud drifts slowly across the wide arc above the ridges. Your shoulders sink a little deeper into their resting position. The body no longer searches for a better posture. It has already found one. Another quiet breath rises and falls. The rhythm continues without effort. Somewhere across the basin, a faint rustle touches the grass. The sound fades quickly into the evening hush. The surrounding slopes hold their quiet presence along the horizon. Their shapes appear calm and steady beneath the open sky. Your chest rises slowly, then settles again. The gentle rhythm of breathing continues. Cool air brushes lightly across your face. The temperature now feels comfortable and calm. The ground beneath the grass remains firm and supportive. Nothing shifts, nothing needs to. Another breath enters and leaves your lungs. The body grows heavier against the stone. The basin around you rests in quiet balance. Open ground stretches toward the distant ridges while the evening sky drifts calmly above. Your breathing continues its slow rhythm. The body feels settled. The shoulders rest easily. Cool evening air surrounds the basin, and the calm place beside the stone holds its quiet stillness as the night gradually deepens. A faint rustle drifts through the grass beside the stone. The sound arrives quietly, carried by a soft breath of evening air that passes across the basin floor. It fades again almost immediately, leaving the surrounding slopes resting in calm silence. Cool air touches your face. The temperature now feels steady and comfortable, neither warm nor cold, simply present in the quiet evening atmosphere. Your breathing continues its slow rhythm. Each inhale fills your chest gently before easing away again without effort. Above the distant ridges, pale cloud spreads across the open sky. Their shapes appear softer now, blending gradually into the calm evening air above the slopes. Your shoulders remain relaxed against the stone. The support beneath your back feels steady, allowing the body to sink easily into its resting place. Another quiet breath enters your lungs. The rhythm remains slow and natural. Across the basin, the open ground lies undisturbed. Grass covers the earth in soft layers that stretch toward the surrounding ridges. A distant whisper moves briefly through the grass. The sound fades before it reaches the stone. The sky above the basin holds its calm openness. Thin cloud continues its gentle passage across the wide arc of evening sky. Your chest rises slowly, then settles again. Breathing remains steady. Cool air drifts quietly through the basin. It carries the faint scent of soil and grass. The surrounding slopes stand calmly along the horizon. Their outlines appear softer as evening deepens across the basin. Nothing asks for attention. Nothing interrupts the calm. The stone supports your back. The grass rests beneath your legs. The open sky stretches quietly above the ridges. Your breathing continues its slow rhythm, and the quiet atmosphere of the basin settles softly around you as the evening deepens further. Your body rests easily against the stone. The steady support behind your shoulders feels familiar now, holding you comfortably in place while the quiet evening atmosphere settles across the basin. A calm breath enters your lungs. Cool air fills your chest before easing outward again in a slow, unhurried release. Your breathing continues at an easy rhythm. Each inhale rises gently. Each exhale softens the body a little more. The grass beneath your legs feels calm and steady. The ground supports your weight without pressure, allowing your muscles to relax fully. Cool evening air drifts quietly across the basin. It carries a faint scent of earth and grass that settles gently into the still atmosphere. Above the distant ridges, the sky stretches wide and open. Thin cloud crosses the upper air slowly enough that the change appears only after several quiet moments. Your shoulders feel heavier against the stone now. The body no longer searches for a better position. Comfort has already been found. Another slow breath enters your chest, then leaves again just as softly. Across the basin floor, the open ground lies calm. Grass spreads toward the surrounding slopes that hold their broad arc along the horizon. A faint rustle appears somewhere in the grass. The sound lasts only a moment before dissolving again into the evening hush. Your breathing remains steady. The gentle rise and fall of your chest continues without effort. Cool air brushes lightly across your face. The temperature feels calm and balanced in the quiet evening atmosphere. The slopes surrounding the basin stand in patient stillness. Their shapes soften beneath the open sky. Another breath enters your lungs, then leaves again. The body rests comfortably against the stone. Your shoulders remain loose. Your legs rest quietly in the grass. Nothing asks for attention. Nothing needs to change. The basin holds its quiet balance of ground, air, distant slopes, and wide evening sky. Your breathing continues slowly. Cool evening air surrounds the resting place beside the stone, and the quiet basin settles deeper into stillness as the night gradually approaches. Your breathing continues slowly. Each inhale arrives gently, filling your chest with cool evening air before easing away again in a calm and steady release. Your shoulders rest easily against the stone. The surface behind your back feels firm and dependable, holding your weight without effort as the body settles more deeply into its comfortable position. The grass beneath your legs lies soft and undisturbed. Blades rest quietly against the ground, their gentle texture barely noticeable beneath the calm heaviness spreading through your muscles. Another quiet breath rises, then falls again. The rhythm feels natural now. The body no longer needs to think about breathing. It simply happens. Cool evening air spreads across the basin. The temperature has settled into a comfortable balance that feels calm and steady against your skin. Above the distant ridges, the wide sky continues to stretch across the upper air. Thin cloud drifts quietly along the horizon, their slow change barely noticeable from one moment to the next. Your chest rises again, then settles softly. Breathing remains slow. Your shoulders feel heavier against the stone now. The body sinks slightly deeper into its resting place, supported by the ground and the quiet strength of the stone behind you. Across the basin floor, the open ground lies still. Grass spreads toward the surrounding slopes where the ridges hold their calm presence along the horizon. A faint rustle appears somewhere among the grass. The sound is brief. It fades quickly into the quiet evening air. Another breath enters your lungs. Cool air fills your chest, then eases outward again. The rhythm continues without effort. The basin feels wide and peaceful now. The surrounding slopes stand quietly beneath the evening sky while the open ground rests between them in calm stillness. Your legs remain comfortably extended across the grass. The ground beneath your heels feels cool and steady. Nothing asks the body to shift or adjust. Comfort has already been found. Your breathing continues, slow, even, quiet. Cool air touches your face once more. The gentle temperature feels calm and balanced in the quiet atmosphere spreading across the basin. Above the ridges, the sky remains open and pale. Thin cloud continues its quiet passage across the upper air. Your shoulders sink a little deeper against the stone. The steady support allows the body to relax fully into its resting place. Another slow breath rises, then falls again. The calm rhythm continues. Across the basin, the ground rests quietly beneath the evening sky. Grass stretches toward the distant slopes where the ridges hold their broad arc along the horizon. The air remains still. Nothing disturbs the quiet balance of the basin. Your breathing continues, slow and steady. Your chest rises, then settles again. The body feels calm and heavy now. Comfort spreads gently through your shoulders, your back, your legs. Cool evening air surrounds the basin. The sky above the slopes remains wide and peaceful, and the quiet resting place beside the stone continues to hold its calm stillness as night slowly approaches. Your breathing remains calm and steady. Each quiet inhale arrives without effort, bringing cool evening air gently into your chest before easing away again in a soft release. Your shoulders stay relaxed against the stone. The steady support beneath your back feels dependable and familiar now, allowing the body to rest fully without needing to shift or adjust. The grass beneath your legs lies quiet and undisturbed. Blades rest softly against the ground, their gentle texture barely noticeable beneath the calm weight of your body. Another slow breath enters, then leaves again. The rhythm continues. Cool evening air settles across the basin. The temperature feels calm and balanced, neither warm nor cool, simply present around the resting place beside the stone. Across the open ground, the basin holds its quiet stillness. Grass stretches toward the distant slopes while the ridges stand patiently along the horizon. Your chest rises once more, then settles again in a gentle rhythm. Breathing remains steady and easy. Above the surrounding slopes, the wide sky continues its calm presence. Thin cloud drifts slowly across the upper air, their shapes soft and quiet against the evening sky. Your body feels heavier now. The weight of your shoulders presses comfortably into the stone while the ground supports your legs without effort. Another calm breath rises, then falls again. The basin remains still. Grass rests across the ground. The distant ridges hold their quiet arc beneath the open sky. Cool evening air surrounds the resting place beside the stone. Your breathing continues slowly, and the quiet atmosphere of the basin settles gently around you as the evening deepens toward night. Your breathing continues slowly and evenly. Each inhale arrives gently, filling your chest with cool evening air before easing outward again in a calm and effortless release. The steady rhythm feels natural now. Your shoulders rest comfortably against the stone. The surface behind your back supports your weight without effort, allowing the body to sink deeper into its quiet resting place beside the bank. Another calm breath rises, then falls again. The grass beneath your legs lies soft and still. The ground supports your body easily, holding you in a position that requires no adjustment. Cool evening air settles across the basin. It carries the faint scent of soil and grass that lingers gently in the quiet atmosphere. Your chest rises once more, then settles again in the same steady rhythm. Breathing continues without effort. Across the basin, the open ground lies calm beneath the evening sky. Grass stretches toward the surrounding slopes where the ridges hold their broad arc along the horizon. Nothing disturbs the quiet balance of the basin. Another slow breath enters your lungs. Cool air fills your chest before easing away again. Your shoulders feel heavier now against the stone. The body has fully settled into its resting place. No muscle searches for a better position. Comfort has already been found. Above the distant ridges, the wide sky stretches quietly across the upper air. Thin cloud drifts slowly along the horizon. Your breathing continues, slow, even, calm. The grass beside your legs lies undisturbed. The ground holds its quiet firmness beneath you. Cool evening air brushes softly across your face. The temperature feels calm and balanced within the still atmosphere of the basin. Another breath enters, then leaves again. Your chest rises gently, then settles. The rhythm continues. Across the basin, the surrounding slopes stand in quiet stillness. Their shapes soften beneath the open sky as evening deepens. Nothing asks for attention. Nothing needs to change. Your body rests easily against the stone. Your shoulders remain relaxed. Your legs lie quietly across the grass. Breathing continues slowly. The calm rhythm rises and falls without effort. Cool evening air surrounds the basin. The ground rests quietly beneath the grass. The distant ridges hold their steady arc along the horizon. Another slow breath fills your lungs, then eases outward again. The body feels calm and heavy now. Your shoulders press gently into the stone. Your legs rest comfortably in the grass. Across the basin, the quiet atmosphere deepens. The sky remains wide and open above the slopes. Your breathing continues its slow rhythm. Each inhale rises softly. Each exhale settles the body a little more. The basin lies calm and undisturbed. Open ground stretches toward the distant ridges beneath the quiet evening sky. Cool air drifts gently across the resting place beside the stone. Another breath enters your chest, then leaves again. The rhythm remains steady. Your body rests fully now. The stone supports your back. The ground supports your legs. Cool evening air surrounds the basin, and the quiet resting place beside the stone settles into deeper calm as the night continues to approach. Your breathing continues slowly and evenly. Each inhale arrives quietly, filling your chest with cool night air before easing away again in a calm and gentle release. The rhythm feels natural now. Nothing needs to guide it. Your shoulders rest comfortably against the stone. The steady support behind your back allows the body to remain fully relaxed in its quiet resting place. Another breath rises, then settles again. The calm rhythm continues. Cool night air spreads softly across the basin. The temperature has cooled slightly since evening, bringing a quiet freshness to the open ground. Your chest rises once more, then falls again in the same slow pattern. Breathing continues without effort. The wide sky above the distant slopes feels calm and open. Thin cloud drifts quietly across the upper air, their shapes barely changing from one moment to the next. Your body feels heavy now. The weight of your shoulders presses gently into the stone while your legs rest easily across the grass. Another calm breath enters your lungs, then leaves again. Across the basin, the ground lies quiet beneath the night sky. The surrounding slopes hold their broad curve along the horizon. Your breathing remains steady. The gentle rise and fall of your chest continues in a slow and peaceful rhythm. Cool air brushes lightly across your face. The sensation is soft and calm in the quiet night atmosphere. Above the slopes, the sky stretches wide and still. The basin rests beneath it in quiet balance. Another breath enters, then eases outward again. Your shoulders remain relaxed. The body rests easily in its settled position beside the stone. Nothing in the basin asks for attention. The ground lies calm beneath the night sky. The distant slopes stand quietly along the horizon. Your breathing continues, slow, even, quiet. Cool night air surrounds the basin. The wide sky above the slopes remains open and still. Your chest rises gently, then settles again. The rhythm continues. Your body feels calm and heavy now. The stone supports your back. The ground supports your legs. Another slow breath fills your lungs, then eases outward again. The basin remains quiet beneath the night sky. The surrounding slopes hold their steady arc along the horizon. Your breathing continues softly. The body rests easily against the stone. Cool night air drifts gently across the basin. The quiet atmosphere deepens as the night settles over the slopes. Another calm breath enters your chest, then leaves again. Your shoulders remain relaxed. Your legs rest comfortably across the grass. The basin feels wide and peaceful beneath the night sky. The distant slopes hold their quiet presence along the horizon. Your breathing continues slowly. Each inhale arrives gently. Each exhale softens the body a little more. Cool night air surrounds the resting place beside the stone. The wide sky stretches quietly above the basin, and the calm rhythm of breathing continues as the quiet night deepens around you. Your breathing continues in the same calm rhythm. Each inhale arrives quietly, filling your chest with cool night air before easing outward again in a soft and steady release. The body no longer needs to think about breathing. The rhythm carries itself. Your shoulders rest comfortably against the stone. The steady surface behind your back supports your weight without effort, allowing the body to remain fully relaxed. Another slow breath enters, then settles outward again. Your chest rises gently, then falls. The calm pattern continues. Cool night air drifts quietly across the basin. The temperature feels balanced and calm against your skin. Above the surrounding slopes, the sky stretches wide and still. Thin cloud crosses the upper air slowly, their shapes barely changing across the quiet sky. Your body feels heavier now. The weight of your shoulders presses softly into the stone while your legs rest easily across the grass. Another breath enters your lungs, then leaves again. Across the basin, the open ground lies quiet beneath the night sky. The distant slopes hold their broad curve along the horizon. Your breathing remains slow. The rise and fall of your chest continues in the same gentle rhythm. Cool air brushes lightly across your face. The sensation feels calm and steady. Above the slopes, the wide sky remains open. Cloud drifts quietly through the upper air. Your shoulders stay relaxed against the stone. The body has settled fully into its resting place. Another calm breath rises, then falls again. The rhythm continues without effort. The basin rests quietly beneath the night sky. The surrounding slopes hold their quiet presence along the horizon. Your breathing continues, slow, even, quiet. Cool night air surrounds the basin. The wide sky above the slopes remains still. Another breath enters your chest, then eases outward again. Your body feels calm and heavy. The stone supports your back. The ground supports your legs. The rhythm of breathing continues gently. The basin remains quiet beneath the sky. The distant slopes stand calmly along the horizon. Cool air drifts softly across the basin. Another breath enters, then leaves again. Your chest rises slowly, then settles. Your shoulders remain relaxed. Your legs rest quietly across the grass. The basin feels calm and peaceful beneath the night sky. The surrounding slopes hold their steady arc along the horizon. Your breathing continues. Each inhale arrives gently. Each exhale settles the body a little deeper. Cool night air surrounds the resting place beside the stone. The sky above the basin remains wide and still, and the quiet rhythm of breathing continues as the calm night deepens around you. Your breathing continues in its quiet rhythm. Each inhale arrives gently, filling your chest with cool night air before easing outward again in a slow and steady release. The body feels calm. The rhythm carries itself now. Your shoulders rest easily against the stone. The steady support behind your back allows the body to remain fully relaxed without effort. Another breath enters, then settles outward again. Your chest rises softly, then falls. The calm pattern continues. Cool night air spreads quietly across the basin. The temperature feels steady and comfortable. Above the distant slopes, the wide sky stretches quietly across the upper air. Thin cloud drifts slowly along the horizon. Your body feels heavier now. The weight of your shoulders presses softly into the stone while your legs lie easily across the grass. Another slow breath enters your lungs, then leaves again. Across the basin, the open ground rests beneath the night sky. The surrounding slopes hold their broad curve along the horizon. Your breathing remains slow. The rise and fall of your chest continues in a gentle rhythm. Cool air brushes lightly across your face. The sensation feels soft and calm. The sky above the slopes remains wide and quiet. Cloud drifts quietly through the upper air. Your shoulders stay relaxed against the stone. The body has settled fully into its resting place. Another calm breath rises, then falls again. The rhythm continues. The basin rests quietly beneath the sky. The distant slopes hold their quiet presence along the horizon. Your breathing continues, slow, even, quiet. Cool night air surrounds the basin. The sky above the slopes remains calm and open. Another breath enters your chest, then eases outward again. Your body feels calm and heavy. The stone supports your back. The ground supports your legs. The rhythm of breathing continues gently. The basin remains quiet beneath the sky. The distant slopes stand calmly along the horizon. Cool air drifts softly across the basin. Another breath enters, then leaves again. Your chest rises slowly, then settles. Your shoulders remain relaxed. Your legs rest quietly across the grass. The basin feels calm beneath the night sky. The surrounding slopes hold their steady arc along the horizon. Your breathing continues. Each inhale arrives gently. Each exhale settles the body a little deeper. Cool night air surrounds the resting place beside the stone. The wide sky stretches quietly above the basin, and the calm rhythm of breathing continues as the quiet night deepens. Your breathing continues quietly. Each inhale arrives gently, filling your chest with cool night air before easing outward again in a slow and effortless release. The rhythm feels steady. Nothing needs to guide it. Your shoulders rest comfortably against the stone. The surface behind your back supports the body easily, allowing every muscle to remain relaxed. Another calm breath enters your lungs, then settles outward again. Your chest rises softly, then falls. The quiet pattern continues. Cool night air drifts across the basin. The temperature feels calm and balanced against your skin. Above the surrounding slopes, the wide sky stretches quietly across the upper air. Thin cloud drifts slowly near the horizon. Your body feels heavy now. The weight of your shoulders presses gently into the stone while your legs lie easily across the grass. Another breath enters, then leaves again. Across the basin, the open ground rests beneath the night sky. The distant slopes hold their quiet curve along the horizon. Your breathing remains slow. The rise and fall of your chest continues in the same gentle rhythm. Cool air brushes softly across your face. The sensation feels calm and steady. The sky above the slope stays wide and still. Cloud drifts quietly through the upper air. Your shoulders remain relaxed against the stone. The body has settled completely into its resting place. Another calm breath rises, then falls again. The rhythm continues without effort. The basin rests quietly beneath the sky. The surrounding slopes hold their quiet presence along the horizon. Your breathing continues, slow, even, quiet. Cool night air surrounds the basin. The sky above the slopes remains calm and open. Another breath enters your chest, then eases outward again. Your body feels calm and heavy. The stone supports your back. The ground supports your legs. The rhythm of breathing continues gently. The basin remains quiet beneath the sky. The distant slopes stand calmly along the horizon. Cool air drifts softly across the basin. Another breath enters, then leaves again. Your chest rises slowly, then settles. Your shoulders remain relaxed. Your legs rest quietly across the grass. The basin feels peaceful beneath the night sky. The surrounding slopes hold their steady arc along the horizon. Your breathing continues. Each inhale arrives gently. Each exhale settles the body a little deeper. Cool night air surrounds the resting place beside the stone. The sky above the basin remains wide and quiet. Another breath enters your lungs, then leaves again. The calm rhythm continues. Your shoulders rest easily. Your body feels fully supported. Nothing needs to change. Nothing asks for attention. The basin holds its quiet balance beneath the night sky. Your breathing continues slowly. Cool night air drifts softly across the open ground. The distant slopes remain still along the horizon. Your chest rises once more, then settles again. The calm rhythm continues. Your body rests quietly against the stone. Your legs lie comfortably across the grass. Cool night air surrounds the basin, and the quiet night deepens as the steady rhythm of breathing continues. Your breathing continues slowly. Each inhale arrives gently, filling your chest with cool night air before easing outward again in a calm and effortless release. The rhythm feels steady. Your chest rises softly, then settles again. The body rests comfortably against the stone. The steady support behind your back allows every muscle to remain relaxed. Another quiet breath enters your lungs, then leaves again. The calm rhythm continues. Cool night air surrounds the basin. The temperature feels calm and balanced against your skin. Above the distant slopes, the wide sky stretches quietly across the upper air. Thin cloud drifts slowly near the horizon. Your shoulders remain relaxed. The body feels heavy and settled now. Another slow breath enters, then settles outward again. Your chest rises gently, then falls. Breathing continues without effort. Across the basin, the open ground lies quiet beneath the night sky. The surrounding slopes hold their broad arc along the horizon. Your breathing remains slow. The rise and fall of your chest continues in the same gentle rhythm. Cool air brushes softly across your face. The sensation feels calm and steady. The sky above the slopes remains wide and still. Cloud drifts quietly through the upper air. Your shoulders stay relaxed against the stone. The body rests fully in its quiet place. Another calm breath rises, then falls again. The rhythm continues. The basin rests quietly beneath the sky. The distant slopes hold their quiet presence along the horizon. Your breathing continues, slow, even, quiet. Cool night air surrounds the basin. The wide sky above the slopes remains calm and open. Another breath enters your chest, then eases outward again. Your body feels calm and heavy. The stone supports your back. The ground supports your legs. The rhythm of breathing continues gently. The basin remains quiet beneath the sky. The distant slopes stand calmly along the horizon. Cool air drifts softly across the basin. Another breath enters, then leaves again. Your chest rises slowly, then settles. Your shoulders remain relaxed. Your legs rest quietly across the grass. The basin feels calm beneath the night sky. The surrounding slopes hold their steady arc along the horizon. Your breathing continues. Each inhale arrives gently. Each exhale settles the body a little deeper. Cool night air surrounds the resting place beside the stone. The sky above the basin remains wide and quiet. Another breath enters your lungs, then leaves again. The calm rhythm continues. Your shoulders rest easily. Your body feels fully supported. Nothing needs to change. Nothing asks for attention. The basin holds its quiet balance beneath the night sky. Your breathing continues slowly. Cool night air drifts softly across the open ground. The distant slopes remain still along the horizon. Your chest rises once more, then settles again. The calm rhythm continues. Your body rests quietly against the stone. Your legs lie comfortably across the grass. Cool night air surrounds the basin. The wide sky stretches quietly above the slopes, and the calm rhythm of breathing continues as the quiet night settles into complete stillness.